It's Super Bowl week. It's off and running. The Kansas City Chiefs are in Vegas, and the odds are coming around at what this Super Bowl is going to be. Welcome to RGR Football. We are live, Monday Night Live around here all year, no matter what, whether it's Super Bowl week or whether it's draft week or whether it's something in between. Welcome in. He's Dan Harms. I'm Ryan Tracy. This is where we talk Chiefs and NFL, whether they like it or whether they don't. We let some of the trolls in, we smash them and send them on their way. So welcome in, because it's going to be a heck of a ride. I got the neon glow yellow on today, so we're going to go with that. Hopefully it's not blinding everyone. Hope you guys are well. We appreciate you. I want to talk just about what the options are here while you guys are getting your questions in, because as you know, the Monday night show every weekend of the year is about you. You guys put the questions in. You run the show. We just provide the answers. So we're stacking them up right now. If you want to get on the show tonight, make sure you throw a super chat in there. If you want to get in behind the scenes, join the memberships as well at the rookie level and above, and you'll get all the extra content, my game notes, Dan's rants, the whole 9 yards. And we're not even talking about the draft yet. We'll get to that, because as my internet is going to waver a little bit, I'm going to recover. It's going to be okay. I'm pretty excited about this. I just feel like no matter what, if the Chiefs pull out a victory, they're going to have the MVP. That's pretty normal, right? That's not stretching it. But I think right now, if they pull this victory, I'm leaning that it's Pacheco that probably gets the MVP nod, because that's the game flow I'm expecting. Am I nuts?
A little bit, yes. Mostly because even if Patrick has like a so-so day but throws 2 touchdowns and doesn't turn the ball over, he's getting the MVP. That's just how it works. It is a quarterback award, much like it is for the regular season. It's a quarterback award. And that's why Christian McCaffrey, even though he should get it, will not get it, because it's driven by the quarterbacks. So yeah, Patrick, if he goes out and has maybe, 1 touchdown, 150 yards, which I don't expect, by the way, at all, then I could see that happening. And unless Pacheco has like 200 yards on the ground and a couple of touchdowns, okay. Well, you kind of forced their hand there, but I expect this to look a little bit like the game script last year, where he's going to get his touches, he's going to get his yards, but the offense will score through Patrick Mahomes and everyone in that sort of fashion.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, I'm going to hold out hope, because that's kind of just, I don't know. I feel like they could give us a serious zig to the zag here on that one. You guys tell me what you think. And I think the dark horse, and I do think it's a possibility, is that in what he has admitted because of his current situation, and don't worry, folks, we're going to give you our predictions, play-by-play, and the whole 9 yards in our game plan live stream on Friday. Do not miss that one. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Like this video, because we just keep coming at you with this kind of stuff. We're going to break it down for you all the time. Honest, good, bad, and ugly, the whole 9 yards. But that one on Friday is going to be a lot of fun. We'll have film for you this week. We'll have stats for you this week. We'll have some clips as well. So make sure you're subscribed and you got that bell turned on. For me, the dark horse, I feel the more that I think about this, we've seen Chris Jones be a little bit more of a leader this season, a little bit more of pushing the defensive line vocally. And I feel that's because he feels the pressure of the coming contract situation. He's mentioned it several times in public this year that, hey, I know this is a business. This could be my last season as a Chief. This could be his last game as a Chief. And if he's going out to get paid, there ain't no better way to do it than to have an epic, and I mean slobber knocker epic game in this last Super Bowl. And so I'm not even going to count Chris Jones out. I know the odds are way against it. I think he's getting 10,000 to 1 on most of the sites, but I think it's a possibility.
If he gets a couple of forced fumbles, a couple of sacks, yeah, that's not even outside the question, especially if it's a close game. And again, that game script where maybe Pacheco gets more of the run than Patrick does. And again, he doesn't have the huge numbers that he did last year. Even then, his yardage wasn't huge, but he had quite a few touchdowns. So that's possible. But if Chris Jones gets because Brock Purdy is a little bit of a smaller quarterback, we have seen Chris Jones have an interception on a pass. So maybe if he's running towards him and Brock Purdy tries to get the ball off and Chris Jones is just there, and he takes the football and, throws Brock Purdy aside because he would pretty much engulf him if he tried to do anything, and then runs it back for a score. I mean, that's very possible.
I think it's going to be pretty fun. I'm really hoping that someone else steps up and gives them run for their money. Travis Kelce is certainly another dark horse for the MVP, but those are the 4 guys on this roster that I think could really stand out. Now, if you want to get in the action, we suggest very humbly that you guys go check out our friends over at DraftKings, because you could be this guy and be smiling all the way to the bank if you get in right now and enjoy the options that I'm about to tell you about, because we try to support the folks that support us. And right now it's super, super simple. You can get into DraftKings and use our code RGR and earn that crown, because it's yours. You just got to go to take it. Looking for this Super Bowl, and 458 in particular, there are specific things that you can get into. DraftKings Sportsbook, they have you covered all the way around. New customers can get in on this big game with just $5. If you can win that one, it turns at 200 instantly in bonus bets right there along those lines. Now, like I said, the MVP can be bet. You can bet who scores the first touchdown. You can bet over-unders. Right now, still, the line is leading towards the under at 48. We're going to see what we come to in our predictions on Friday, but the interesting one as well. Mahomes obviously leads as the MVP candidate, but I think the most thrilling thing about this is that you can get in any kind of action that you want and use our code RGR, and you're going to get that $200 in bonus bets if you just get in the action and win $5. You can download it really simply. The Sportsbook app from DraftKings is the way to go. Get in the app now. Use that code RGR. New customers are getting $5 back. They can bet $5 and you're going to get $200 back in bonus bets. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sportsbook betting partner of the NFL and Super Bowl 58. With that code RGR, you can see it down below me right here. Now, if you do that, the crown is yours for the taking. Gambling problems, you do need to get in there. Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net in New York. Call 877-8-HOPENY. That's Hope, New York. It's 467-369 if you're looking for those numbers. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-78-9777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of the Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 plus age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire within 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/football for eligibility and deposit restrictions. Terms and conditions definitely do apply. Responsible gaming resources are available as well. So check out our friends at DraftKings and get yourself in the action. The action that I like the most is the MVP, but I know you guys have a lot of ideas out there as well. Again, if you want on the show tonight, hit that super chat. Doesn't matter the amount. Every super chat gets an answer. And we'll also try to answer a bunch of the topics that have question marks in the front of them as well. So Dan, we're going to lead off with you. Get into the action here. The first one is from Axolate. I don't know how I'm supposed to pronounce that. I don't know if is that like that ancient like dart throwing, spear throwing tool? Okay,
I believe so. But there's also
awesome.
an animal, like it's an actual animal. I believe that the fish right there is the axolotl.
So if you put an arrowhead on that, it's certainly Chiefs oriented. So thank you. And appreciate the support. 49ers are complaining about the practice field conditions already. And hey, I have to admit, I don't know how you feel about it, Dan. I would probably be doing the same thing if we were the Chiefs on those fields.
If you're doing something every single day, every single week for the last 5 months, and you're used to something, you get somewhere and the field's not where you want it to be because it's not what you're used to. It's also not what you're going to be used to and having been playing on. Yeah, you're gonna try to make it right, because once again, everybody played on that terrible grass last year in the Super Bowl. Everybody did. You think they want to do that again? No, it was a terrible experience for everybody, and it's dangerous. Honestly, you can get hurt. You can. So I understand that they're complaining about it, and they honestly, they have every right to. You're not going to like that answer, Chiefs fans, and I understand it. But at the end of the day, I do believe this is more about injury in health than anything.
Yeah, and that's fair. And to be fair, it's not for those Niner fans that are in here. If you're crying foul, this was set out long before when they announced the Super Bowl, they announced the practice facilities for the NFC versus the AFC. And the AFC is designated as the home team this time. That means they get the local team's facilities. And in this case, the Chiefs get to get dressed for their Super Bowl run in the Raiders locker room. So, hey, Max Crosby, how you feeling now? You woke up the wrong QB, buddy. I hate to tell you.
Love it. It's fantastic.
I love that moment. It's one of my favorites. Micah, how are you, buddy? Do the Niners run more zone D or man coverage? I'm just concerned because the offense couldn't or hasn't been consistently good versus man. What do you think?
Well, the 49ers do a lot of rush 4 and play zone behind it because that's about all they can do. They do have some press zone that you'll see. You'll probably see Travarius Ward doing that. One area that I'm going to talk about right now that's something that I'm very interested in. How many years has Steve Spagnuolo coached Travarius Ward, guys? You think he knows the ins and outs of that defensive player a little bit? You think he kind of knows who's going to be able to beat him vertically down the field? What I'm picturing right now, and I'm going to give you guys this right now, with the 266 of you in here. Imagine what Sammy Watkins did to Richard Sherman in the Super Bowl. Remember that play?
Oh,
Rashee Rice.
Are we going there?
Rashee Rice is going to do that to Travarius Ward at some point in this football game.
Okay, I'm ready. I'm here for it. I'm all aglow. If you can't tell, yeah. Sorry, folks, for the hazard to your eyes. If you're joining us late, welcome to RGR Football. He's Dan, I'm Ryan, and I'm on fire. It's fine. Micah, thank you for that one and for this. Do you guys think that Tony McKinnon will be active on Sunday? I need to see tomorrow and see how they practice. I don't know. Do you have a gut feeling?
Tony's off the injury report. He's not even on it. So, yeah, I think he's going to be active. I think he'll play. I'm interested because there's a legit chance that McKinnon plays, and I think getting 10 snaps out of him would be huge. Would be just absolutely huge for this team.
Yeah, I agree. If you can get anything that is productive. And, hey, he scored in the last Super Bowl. I mean, if you're going to be around for one game of a season, this is the one to be there for, right?
Maybe it's not even 10 snaps. Maybe he plays like 15. Maybe he plays 20. It all depends on its groin. That's the thing. This is tender. Like we all, everybody has a groin. Like you're moving around the house. Like if it's tight, that's not fun to do. So if he's good to go, yes.
What are your thoughts, Chad Chapman, on the Raiders trying to recruit Chris Jones? I mean, every team's going to try to recruit Chris Jones. I'm sure Max has been making calls, or he will as soon as this game's over. Despite any contract drama, I don't think Chris Jones is going to go to another AFC West team. I just don't see it.
I do. If they pay him.
Okay.
If they throw out the bag. Chris has been very adamant about, he's kind of about the money. He's very much about the money. So if someone throws a lot of money at him, I could see him playing somewhere else. Because he's talked about how much he understands that this is a business. And at the end of the day, it's a business to him as much as it is the thing that he loves to do. And he's going to want to get paid. This is also the last chance he's going to get a big payday. It is.
True.
Make no mistake about it. So that's in his mind.
And I'd have to look at the Raiders cap and see what's in there, but everybody's going to try to come after him if they think it's deal. And that's why the tag and trade is the most applicable, because the Chiefs can't let him go. If he isn't going to voluntarily take a contract here, they cannot let him go for free. So they will tag and trade him.
Have to.
Appreciate you. Let's see. Micah, who's guarding Kittle? Great pod. Thank you very much. Well, and there's a couple of scenarios, but who'd you like to see primarily?
It's going to be quite a few people, like you said, but I think Justin Reed's going to get the large portion of that, in my opinion, because he's been playing excellent football. He really has. He's been really, really good, especially in the postseason. But I also want to see him blitzing a little bit because I love that. I think he's a fantastic blitzer as well. But the way that Spags used him against the Ravens is how I consistently want to see him be used. He was all over the place, and we're going to be talking about this on Wednesday. Last week, you guys, I was unable to do my film room because we were, in Mobile, Alabama. We were having, having fun at Mobile. So this week we'll get into that film a little bit. I'm not going to go too crazy on it because you guys want to talk about this week. So we'll kind of parse together some of the key players from that game and talk about how they can be utilized against the 49ers. So I do think Justin Reed is a player to cover George Kittle. I don't know. He's not perfect for it because George is one of the best tight ends in football. But I think predominantly we'll see Justin Reed, and he's really elevated his game when asked to do so. So I think he can really bring it.
I hope so. I'm looking forward to. I hear a lot of people theorizing, and I personally would do this as well, is trying to stack Debo and Ayuk same side, not have a wide out to the other side, and let Kittle be the man on the end of that formation. You get that, then you end up with Josh Williams or Jalen Watson on him, and I'm pretty comfortable with that in terms of the first phase of a double. I don't think they can turn and run with him, but I think they can get physical enough to delay him enough to ruin timing.
And that's the thing. This game is going to come down to getting to Brock Purdy. If he's sitting back there and he's able to throw the football, these guys are going to get open. They just are. They're just too damn good. They just are. So you're going to see pressure. You're going to see some press. And again, like you said, Josh Williams has played very well in the postseason. He's a physical guy. I think he can throw off timing a little bit with Kittle. And honestly, let them stack those two on the left side or the right side and let it happen. Please do. Please do. Because that's exactly what the Chiefs want to do. They want to force the ball down the field and let their players come and get Brock Purdy. That's what they want to do.
I personally, there's a couple things you can do if you're San Fran. I don't think they're going to do it because I agree it plays into what the Chiefs want to do. I would give it a shot if I were on the offensive side on the other one, but hey, it is what it is. Welcome, Ivan. I see that you are new here and you joined Locked On Chiefs as well. Nice to see you. And I'm gonna interrupt the queue here just for a second because before we move on, Mr. Phil, I appreciate you bringing this up. We had a good time in Mobile. I do every single year. The first year for me was 1999. I'm just going to be real. I am the older of a lot of folks that go down there. So did you enjoy this trip?
It was a lot of fun. I had a great time. It was my second year, so I had a much better idea of what I wanted to focus on and what I wanted to actually get out of this trip for watching these players. And I think that we did a really good job. Obviously, when this week is over, we will talk more about the players at the Senior Bowl and things like that. But we got some unfinished business, you guys, to talk about this week. So it's going to be on hold a little bit. I'm sure there will be some questions we'll answer, but we had a great time. Hello. Thank you.
And I tell you, Phil, for you in particular, we're either going to do a member stream or we might do it over on Craft. We had a hell of a meal down in Mobile, and we got some.
Oh yes, we did
images of it. And I think we're going to relive that for you guys because I
would be
can't
fantastic,
say enough about it, right? So post Super Bowl and everything, we'll do some foodie talk on the RGR Craft channel. So you guys go get subbed over there, and we'll get after it. And we may have made, some additions to that channel that might pan out. You guys probably get a kick out of them. I don't know.
Have you contacted? Has he contacted you?
Yeah, I think we're going to rock and roll. It's going to be
all right. That's awesome.
So Phil, thanks to your town, we may have changed. It might be good for everyone. So I hope, and I appreciate you very much. Chad, thank you, buddy. What do you think is the main thing for the Chiefs to take away from the Niners? The run or the pass in order to win the Super Bowl? For me, it plays well into what they want to do in understanding how to defend the pass, especially against, no offense to Juwan Jennings, I don't think this 11 package is that scary to me. I think it is the two guys in particular, and I'll take my chances with Jennings. So for me, it's stopping McCaffrey first and foremost. It's blowing up A-gaps so they can't get some of the creative stuff going and get downhill on me. That's my focus if I'm Steve Spagnuolo.
Yeah, they want to attack the edge. Outside zone is their bread and butter, but Christian McCaffrey does everything. So they can't just do what they did against Miami, is just sell out to stop the outside run, because they won't be the 49ers will willingly run to the interior with Christian McCaffrey. That's where their lesser players are, and the Chiefs will have a little bit more success. But you have to mix in some run blitzes. Spags did that against the Ravens, and they did some play action game, and they were able to kind of get Lamar Jackson flustered a little bit. And I'm going to tell you right now, Lamar Jackson is a much more experienced and electric player than Brock Purdy is, and he's taller. So if you throw in some blitzes on first down every now and then, you're going to be able to create some problems, because for everything that Kyle Shanahan and that offense has done, Brock Purdy is still the linchpin for that offense. If he plays well, they will have a fantastic day. You can get to him though. You can fluster him. You can force him to be one-dimensional in the sense that not getting outside the pocket, not being comfortable. When you get him off his spot and he's not just getting outside the pocket and making things happen with his legs or throwing the ball, that's when we have seen bad things happen. So that's what this is about for me. I'm with you.
Mike in Sweden, thanks for joining us. I know it's late for you, and I appreciate you.
Awesome.
And I
Thank
love
you, Mike.
your avatar here, all juice. We actually had a really nice conversation with Pete
did.
Thamel. We were sporting your shirt out in public down in Mobile, and Pete was nice enough to come up and say hello. I've talked to him over email since then.
It's very cool.
Sweetheart of a dude, and we really appreciate it. And here's to you, Therese. Back to the questions. We do want to get there. Steve, I'm sorry I missed this before. I would have tied it into Phil's a little bit better, but was there a sleeper player in Mobile that might make for a good college free agent signing for the Chiefs? Did anybody stand out to you?
It would have been the running back out of Marshall had he not had a fantastic day 1 and day 2. Because he left on day 3. His agent was like, yo, you're good to go. You don't even have to worry about it. Free agent?
What about
probably
the
not
New Hampshire kid? You think he's going to get drafted?
I can't remember his name.
Remember
his name. Oh, the running back? The running back?
Yeah.
I think he's going to get drafted. I think he'll be a day 3 pick. Like probably round 7.
Let's make it late. Yeah, 6, 7 or UDFA. Who's your guy?
Yeah, he's probably the guy there. There was that wide receiver out of
Southeast Missouri State.
Southeast Missouri State. Fornham. Yes, he's
my guy.
Yeah, he's another player that was like, oh, okay. There's something there. You've got some quickness coming out of breaks, locating the football, catching the ball with guys around him. He didn't look out of place, and a really good corner group there. So he's Ryan's too. So
yeah, he was the first guy popped in my head. Steve, well done. Christo, is it probable one of my favorite Chiefs teams from the fan aspect? Who would you hurt the most to see leave with all the pending free agents? Oh, this is probably one of my favorite Chiefs teams. Sorry, Christo, I misread that. Who hurts you the most, personal or on the field?
I'll just go personally. I think it's L'Jarius Sneed. I love Chris Jones, but what L'Jarius Sneed brings to the team is that silent work ethic. He is 100%. You guys, he is a leader by example. I love those players. I love them with all of my heart. Like he never is satisfied. He's never satisfied, and you can tell that every day he goes out there and he's just like, I'm going to do my job. And everybody feels that. And L'Jarius Sneed feels like the lifeblood of this defense. He really does.
Yeah, and you have to have foundational players, right? Chris Jones is a free agent. Nick Bolton is a free agent. You have Reed. It could become a DB-centric core.
Yeah,
L'Jarius is one of mine as well, but I will say this. Just for more personal reasons, I called Willie Gay as the fit that he has become here in Kansas City. I called L'Jarius before he was drafted as the fit. I love both those guys, and I love their fits and what they bring to the defense. So both of them will bother me a little bit. But did you see the parade that Willie's neighborhood threw for him?
I saw the one that Rashee Rice's neighborhood.
Oh, I didn't see that. I saw Willie's, and it was incredible.
Yeah, it's awesome. This team, man, they have some legit players that honestly some people just didn't know and didn't expect to have the seasons that they have, and they've done a great job of scouting these players, bringing them in, developing them, and they've been such a huge part of this team. There's going to be someone, no matter what happens, that is not on this team next year. So everyone should be ready for it. But at the end of the day, like Chris Jones always says, it's a business. And I think the Chiefs on the defensive side have done a really nice job of identifying the players that fit this system and are going to continue to bring those guys in.
Yeah, I agree with you. Oh, thank you, Miss Brenda. I'm glad they were both cool. I'm ashamed of myself for missing the Rashee one. Jeremy, Menahu is likely out. Who do you expect to step up for him? What should we expect from FAU? Menahu is definitely out. And I think you're going to see a rotation. My immediate thing, Dan, you tell me if I'm wrong. I think Mike Dana gets a start in his place.
For sure. 100%.
Okay.
He's
And
earned
then,
it.
yeah, absolutely. You're absolutely right. And from FAU, I expect him to be in pass rushing downs only, maybe even third downs only. And I really hope that they decide. You saw it against the Bills. They could throw some bear front at this and give him a 5-man look. And if you put him out wide and both the guards are busy, I'll take my chances. He might be able to dip around. Trent Williams is getting older. If he gets a hold of him, it's over. But if he can avoid his punch, I think he might have a chance.
I think that they might do some different things because FAU is a better athlete than Mike Dana and Malik Herring. And we know that Spags likes to drop out players. And I expect FAU to have a couple reps where he drops into coverage, which everyone, again, you call out there, it's defensive end, defense tackle. You at one point, you're going to be dropped into coverage. Like that's just what Spags wants to do. It's the simulated pressures. It's kind of the meta of defenses nowadays that can consistently create pressure with 4 in different ways. So I think that he's going to get some different looks that way on second and third down, but not necessarily first down. You might see maybe he might be out there if someone needs a breather. But again, maybe you move him to the other side and let George Karlaftis do it. Or you just sacrifice him to Trent Williams and say, hey, George, beat the other guy. You might have to do that too. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah. I just keep throwing combos at it until it works is what I'd say, Jeremy. Christo, who's the X factor in this game? I say Willie and Rice. I think you're on to some great dudes. What do you got, Dan?
I'm going to save my X factors for the game plan, Christo, but I will say I like those. I like the picks. I think I've got a little bit of a different direction that you guys are going to like. So stay tuned until Friday when we do the game plan.
Okay. Yes. Make sure you guys are here. I'm going to go ahead and put one out there that I wasn't going to talk about Friday, but one that I think if things go the way that I think that they might, it's very long. My longest shot to be the X factor is Leo Chanel. If they get to the point where the Chiefs are suffocating Ayuk and Jennings and Debo, they have to go back to what they do best, and it's going to be trying to attack on the outside in the run game. And that's where Leo's going to shine. He's not going to be able to take on Trent Williams, but if he gets to play overhang or he can take a run at somebody, he might knock Christian McCaffrey out. That's what I'm saying.
I would love to see him get some pass rush snaps because I think you can supplement some of what Charles Menahue brought with Leo Chanel. And just with Willie Gay back, it helps. You have your 3 complement of linebackers, and you can just say, "Hey, Leo, go to town."
Yeah. You go get him. Oh, I love that concept. Metal, nice to see you, buddy. If the Chiefs go with an O-line or wide receiver in the first round, could they get a DT in the second, like Jenkins, or possibly the tight end like the one from K-State? Sanat, you're going to be able to get way later. He'll be a 5th or 6th round pick, in my opinion. Or would you take a wide receiver in the second? What do you got, Dan?
Oh, man. I mean, I liked what Sanat did, but he dropped the ball like every time it was thrown to him at the Senior Bowl. Like, that was like every tight end, though. So it wasn't just exclusive to him. It was like every single one of them. So that was tough. But we're going to kind of figure this out when free agency hits. We're going to have a lot better idea. Right now, I'm still going at wide receiver. That's just how I'm attacking this right now. Obviously, different things happen in free agency and how the draft falls, trading up, all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, I think there's going to be a better wide receiver available at 32 than there will be offensive linemen.
That's a fair bet, although I don't know if they can. At 32, I agree with you. At 64, I think O-line might be pretty plentiful. I worry that Jenkins might be gone by 64. And I do worry about the depth at defensive tackle. Although the hero of Mobile in Darius Robinson, I see him more of a
Charles
Karlaftis.
Menahue. Oh, really?
Yeah, like a guy that goes inside half the time at least. You know what I mean? Like, because I can still see Karlaftis doing that. I don't feel that he's a true edge in my alignment.
I agree. Based off of the stiffness that we saw from him, his tape, he's not an uber athlete, so don't expect him to jump off the charts at the combine. He's again, just like we're talking about with Jeremy's question, look how that lined up so well.
Well done.
So we'll just go ahead and get into it. Thank you, Jeremy. Do you think Darius Robinson will still be there at pick 31, 32? Would love another Mizzou player on the team. Yes, 100%. He's not a first-round player.
No.
I'll be honest with you. I'm not sure he's a top 50 guy. I'm not sure I'm there on Robinson. So it would be a little risky wait until he gets around 64-ish, especially after his Senior Bowl performance. He's going to get bumped up. You'll see someone maybe, take him around 50. But I agree with Ryan. I'm not sold he's a true edge defender because he's very tight-hipped, but we've seen that work in this defense. And, Karlaftis got better. It's all about hand usage and how you can win quickly and learn to use your body because you're stuck with what you got. You have to learn how to use it. And I think that George Karlaftis has done a fantastic job of learning how to win with the tools he has at his disposal.
I will say this, though, in terms of like the Chiefs' development, it wouldn't shock me in the second round because if you do feel Chris is going to get away from you and maybe free agency doesn't work out for a true pass rushing D tackle, you're going to move a Menahue out most likely. FAU is unless even if he has an explosive Super Bowl, I don't know that they're ready for him to be a 3-down starter. For it is a Menahue at edge next year, and maybe that's room for Robinson to play inside. I do like him. His tape is a 60s or 70s player. His Senior Bowl is a 40s or 50s player. Reality is going to set in there somewhere in between. I think his combine is probably going to knock him back a little bit, but it is what it is.
And I mean, I'll be honest. I completely lost my train of thought. So we'll go on to the next. I apologize.
We'll come back. I'm sure there'll be another Darius question, but good one there, Jeremy. Thank you for that one. Christo, with the way that we've seen Mahomes play in the mid-tier wide receivers, is it better to try and re-sign CJ and LJ than draft weapons instead of spending big money? I don't think there's a snowball's chance in hell that you re-sign both CJ and L'Jarius. I'd love for that to happen. I just refuse to let myself even hope because I don't see a way to have it.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's hard to really see that possibly happening. So I'd love, again, like Ryan said, I'd love for it, but I can't realistically think it's going to happen, guys.
Here's what it comes down to for me, Christo. If there is a tackle prospect that they feel can beat Wanye, he will be the first round pick because I think they feel good enough with Wanye at left right now that he can move back to right and be happy. And Juwan Taylor, when his contract's up or when they have a natural break after this next season, that might be the way that they go.
Let me throw a scenario at you.
All right.
Trey Smith does not re-sign in Kansas City.
Somebody
throws a bag at him. Just hear me out, okay? Someone throws a bag at him. He goes and signs somewhere else. The Chiefs draft left tackle in the first round. Say, hey, Wanye, why don't you go play right guard?
You're right guard. Yeah, I hear you.
I'm just saying.
I don't want to see Trey Smith in a non-Chiefs uniform ever.
We have to think about the future, right?
I know.
Paying Trey Smith instead of putting Wanye at right guard and then drafting a tackle would be more expensive than both of them. That's all I'm going to say.
How dare you make sense? You son of damn it.
Just going to say.
No, I hear you. It's going to go like this, Krista. This is the only way around it for me is you take care of whoever you feel you can get signed. Or C. The other you tag and trade. And I saw a question. We're not going to discuss it. I don't think L'Jarius Sneed gets the franchise tag at all over Chris Jones. He just doesn't have the market value that Chris will have. And so you have to protect that. You have to trade that for as much value as you can get. If Chris isn't going to come off of his 30 number. After that, it's protection, weapons. I think we might see another second round wide receiver like we've seen the last several years and try to see if you can hit it again. Personally, whether it's the guy we talked about from Southeast Missouri State, I think it's Flournoy. It might be Flournoy. I'm not sure how to pronounce his name even.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be multiple bites at the wide receiver apple in this draft.
I'm with you 100%.
Okay. Let's see. Metal was
Oh,
asking
look
a
at that.
similar question. Do you see them using free agency to fill the wide receiver using the draft to bolster other needs such as tackle, edge, safety, and other positions that need and still taking at least one? Absolutely. I still think they take at least two, to tell you the truth. I think money spent in free agency, Dan, is going to be best served in that 12 to 16 a year range, which I think is pretty much what they should and can afford. I think that's much better served at defensive tackle than it is at wide receiver.
No, I agree, because you can get wide receivers in a lot of places in the draft. Defense tackle isn't always as abundant in that. Proven defensive tackle help. Christian Wilkins can really help your defensive line right now on plug and play starters. It's not the same with defensive tackle in the draft. Yeah,
hey,
the same.
That's how it feels right now, Metal. We'll see what we get from a vibe from Chris after the Super Bowl. Terry, heard Joe Cullen getting interviews for defensive coordinators. Hope he doesn't leave. He is not getting any interviews right now. That's incorrect, because he cannot until this game is over. He might be getting interest. Quite frankly, I don't remember. You tell me if I'm wrong. I don't believe there's any new head coaches that he's worked under before.
Not to my knowledge.
Okay.
But I think that there was a rumor. I think someone started a rumor that Michigan was interested in bringing him in as the defensive coordinator. I don't know where that possibly started from, because they're not going to be hiring anybody outside of the tree, in my opinion. As the resident Michigan fan. What?
What's Moore's background? I thought he was a DC.
He was the offensive line coach and offensive coordinator.
Okay.
So
it would be absolutely wrong.
They're going to want to run the same kind of stuff that they were running with Minter, and Cullen is not going to do that. So I don't know who started it. I think someone's just trying to speak something into existence, but he has not had any interviews at all from anybody. So this is just an interest-based, someone putting it out to the ether and hoping it happens, in my opinion.
And Terry, one other thing, Steve Spagnuolo is as epic as this season has been, and what I think is about to be the shining star in his career coming here in about 6 days. He is approaching 70 years old, and I do think Joe Cullen is the guy that they're kind of grooming to be the next DC for Andy Reid.
Agreed.
But that's just our thoughts. Sean, I guess this version of the offense that started with the playoffs overcome a turnover deficit against the 49ers team? I'm hesitant to say yes, but the Niners have their own issues as well. They have been bottled up at times on the run game. Debo's not 100%. I still think no. I think you have to at least break even on the turnover deficit.
Yeah, that's the problem, right? The Chiefs turning the football over, getting in their own way, has done that. Now, Patrick, at this point, I'm not ruling anything out for Patrick Mahomes. I won't do it anymore. I've done that. And, I was wrong. So I'm not going to rule it out. It just depends on how big the turnover margin is. If you're not getting any from your defense and you're doing it twice or more, no. That's a whole different beast. But we will say that Patrick has been fantastic in the last 6 postseason games, not turning the football over. So there is something to be said for the player that he becomes in the postseason. Look at last week or 2 weeks ago at this point in the Baltimore game. In the second half, he didn't have to do anything. He knew what he had to do, not make the big mistake. Not once did Patrick put that ball in harm's way in that football game.
Yep.
Not once. So there is something to be said about that.
And if it can be repeated, I mean, that's the way it has to go, Sean. So
yeah,
knock on wood. Jeremy Eby's out in Washington. Eric Bieniemy was released, as I understand. Do you think he'll come back to KC, and in what role? I think he could. And if I had to bet, if he did return to KC, I don't think that happens. I have to tell you. But B, if he did, I think it would be like assistant head coach / run game coordinator or whatever. I don't think you're taking the pass game away from Nagy.
No, I don't think you can at this point, right? Eric Bieniemy and Andy Reid had kind of an understanding that they were going to part ways. Like that's what that was. He's not coming back this season. Now, this next year. Now, if Matt Nagy disappears all of a sudden somewhere down the line and EB is out there, we know Andy Reid's a creature of habit.
Yeah.
We know that.
Aren't we all in some phase? Joe, Pat Mahomes Sr. was arrested on DUI. Yep, we saw that. Do you think this will affect Patrick? I actually don't. Whatever it is, that's his dad. His dad's not hurt. He didn't hurt anyone else. It is a problem for his father. This is not the Britt Reid situation revisited, in my opinion. I think Patrick probably was a little distracted yesterday and maybe even today. But I think set aside, his dad's not in the picture for the Super Bowl or going forward, he can focus again. I believe that's what happens.
I will say one thing about this and one thing only. Patrick Mahomes' father had a DUI in 2019 when the Chiefs won the Super Bowl.
Okay. I didn't even realize that. Isaac, which would you prefer, Dan? This is for you specifically.
All right.
Keon Worthy, Leggett, Ladd, or would you trade up for BTJ? It'd be there on the
Brian Thomas Jr. I'm not trading up for Brian Thomas Jr. So that's a no for me. I'm going back through Keon Coleman's tape right now. He and Rashee Rice fill a lot of the same holes. So no for Keon. I think ideally in this offense in the first round, it's Xavier Worthy paired with Rashee Rice that makes a legit 1-2 punch for this offense. You have the over-the-top speed and the yak from both of them in this offense. And that acceleration, Xavier Worthy might have the might have the fastest 0 to 100 speed in this entire draft class.
And unlike McCole Hardman, he can do this really damn well.
He tracks the ball well. He also
he
survives contact. He survives it very well. He's smaller, but he has bulked up since his freshman season, and he handles that contact much better. If you go back to his rookie season or his freshman season and then watch him from this past season, he looks much different.
Yeah. Now, the injury, he was injured this season quite frequently. I don't know if it was one lingering or if it was multiple things. So the medicals are going to be a focus there. But Dan and I may both get to the combine, and we'll definitely be lighting it up from there. But I think we both see this the same way. Like, that is a 1-2 punch that I can dig. And I think because of those factors, he might be a midday 2 guy. He might crack the first round. I think there's a lot still to be told on where he's going to finally land. So I'm all for him falling a little bit. And
me
maybe
too.
The Chiefs can get there. You know what I mean? And I got to remember BTJ because I didn't even put that together. So thanks, Isaac. What's the Chiefs game plan on offense? We're going to give you the full game plan on Friday in our live stream. Be with us Friday night, and we're going to break it all down about what we do, we think the Chiefs will do, and what we think the answers are going to be. Thanks, Isaac. And Terry, let's go State tonight. Okay.
I'm not sure what that is, but cool. Go State.
Rock and roll. Terry,
I'll rock
I'm
with you,
Terry.
Terry.
Do you think that we keep McCole Hardman next year? No, I do not. I think they actually got a little bit burned by that. They got a little bit desperate for wide receiver help, and they brought him back. And I think just losing another draft pick to it, I think they'll let him walk again. And if he's a free agent by camp, nobody signs him, maybe they bring him back in. But other than that, I don't think so. Yeah. Mason, since Ameni is hurt and 5 linemen have expiring contracts, do we draft a versatile player like Darius Robinson earlier than expected? Hopefully not. Don't draft players earlier than expected. No. That's how you get Breland Speaks. Let's avoid that in general, but particularly the versatility factor, Dan. Do you think it has to be a multiple position player?
I don't think it has to. They have a lot of players. Again, if you're drafting a defensive end, with assuming the Chiefs bring back Mike Dana, you have George Karlaftis, FAU, and then Omeni who comes back later. You're kind of throwing a lot of problems at defensive end unless they're going to be playing defensive tackle. You still need traditional 3 techs, 5 techs, 1 techs, however you want to play that. You still need them, especially because if you're just throwing defensive ends into the interior on rundowns, you think they can hold up on some double teams? Because no, they can't.
Nah. And I haven't seen, I've done 3 games of Robinson, and I honestly haven't seen him double enough to know whether I really feel like he can do that. So we're going to see. Mason, thank you for that. And folks, last call for super chats. If you want on the show tonight, hit the super chat. We're about 15 minutes out from wrapping up, so we're going to hit these speed like. James, nice to see you. What Senior Bowl player stood out for you and maybe be drafted by the Chiefs in this draft? What do you got?
I mean, Lad McConkey, like legit, might be drafted by the Chiefs on round 2 in the second round. But I also think that a guy like Tyler Guyton improved his draft stock. Left tackle out of Oklahoma, he played very well, and that's something that they're going to be looking at. He's an athlete who needs some technical seasoning, and a guy who's really good at that is Andy Heck. Bring a guy who's really good athletic ability. He's a powerful guy. And honestly, Oklahoma just brings out good linemen. They just do. Just draft them and let Andy Heck work with them.
Starting at center from Oklahoma, Creed Humphrey. Starting at guard from Oklahoma, Wanya Morris. Starting at I mean, you could see it. You could have Boomer Sooner the whole right side of the line. I don't know. He was one of my guys as well. Yeah, hey. The guy that I like is Pearsall. You had mentioned him very well during the season, and I hadn't had a chance to see him in person. And I did run into him after the Senior Bowl as well. Like, I do think that he has something to offer. He might be a guy that I don't think he's a first rounder. I don't even know if he'll make it in the second round. But I do think he's a day 2 guy, and I think he could be an option.
Absolutely.
Have we heard anything on Isaiah Buggs, or if he's even a legit option? Mischief, not yet. We haven't heard much speak at all. Do you think Drew Tranquil could line up at end? The dude seems like he has a TJ Watt type body. He doesn't. He's not long, and he's not tall. He can't extend and hit a tackle in particular, but even a tight end. But Buggs, like I'm a little baffled we haven't seen him yet.
I'm not entirely sure. Like, what are we doing here? I know Farrell finally played against Baltimore. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
What are we doing?
Fresh legs.
What are we doing? What are we doing? I'm so confused.
Lieutenant Dan, fresh legs. That's all I got. Sean, appreciate you. 13 months a member. Welcome to your year. Appreciate you, buddy. Been listening for 3 years. Awesome. We very much love to hear that.
Awesome, man.
I was finally able to become a member a year ago. You guys do a great job. Thank you both. Well, thank you. We do it for you guys, and we do it because of you guys. Otherwise, we'd just be talking to you. Phil, appreciate you. Do you think MVS can save his job with a monster Super Bowl game? I do not. Not here.
And it shouldn't. It should not change. Let's say MVS has a fantastic game, catches a couple of deep balls, and catches one for a touchdown. It should not change the Chiefs' opinion on what they need to do for the wide receiver position at all. Should not.
Yeah. I think it will earn him a medium payday somewhere else, but he's a $4 million wide receiver at this point, making 12. I wouldn't have him back at 8. So
no.
I don't think so. I think his future is elsewhere, but he can make himself a little bit of money. Steven, imagine KT wins the Super Bowl MVP. I'll dance a jig on this show, and you guys will never be the same again. That might just be the single greatest redemption arc of all time. It might be, and he should retire immediately if that were to happen.
Legitimately, should retire if it happens.
Sunset?
If he plays at all in this football game, he should be very happy, and maybe just say his goodbyes after the game.
Corbin, I love this question. Thank you from one of our core members. Talk me out of being afraid of the Niners offense. They seem so deep and talented. After you, my friend.
Oh, they have a problem. They have great weapons. They have fantastic running back, wide receiver, tight end. Outside of Trent Williams, that offensive line is bad. It is not good. And the Lions, who don't have a very good pass rush. They don't have a very good pass rush outside of Aiden Hutchinson. They were able to do a lot. They blitzed a lot more. They were, I give a lot of credit to what they were able to do in that first half to really kind of stifle the 49ers. They have a fantastic run defense too. Like they're one of the best, if not the best run defense in the NFL. But there's a question here that I'm not going to get away from, but we'll just talk about the offensive line first and foremost. They are the key here. We've seen the Chiefs throw off timing of wide receivers and offenses all season long. They can continue to do so and attack this offensive line. That's where you go. You attack the offensive line. And I think that Spags knows exactly how to do that.
I agree with you. I will also say this. Debo is not 100%. They were able to take away Ayuk. What was it? 3 catches for 37 yards in the championship game?
No, he
Not
had
much.
the big play. He had the big
Oh,
play.
did he?
Had like
Okay.
4
Was that the
catches
game
for
before?
like 100-ish because of that one that bounced off of the defender's face. Yeah,
Right.
by the way.
Okay.
Don't forget that.
He has had some lackluster games just because they're not able to get him the ball. And let's be real. As much toying around as we've seen Steve Spagnuolo do, Brock Purdy has only seen that. He hasn't seen the 12 years of Spags experimentation in the past.
We have a Brock Purdy question, and I'm saving my Brock Purdy analysis for that one.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Quentin, how should we feel about McDuffie versus Samuel? I'd assume shadows Ayuk. We agree. I'm comfortable with it. Debo has the advantage if he's 100%, particularly in short area quickness. But instinctually, I'd put McDuffie with him.
Yeah, I saw a weird tweet from Warren Sharp earlier about the Chiefs allowing the most targets to slot wide receivers. First of all, nobody allows targets. Targets are based off of what the quarterback does. So please don't use the word allows at all. It makes you sound dumb. That was targeted at Warren Sharp, who I'm sure watches this channel all the time.
Oh, sure.
But the idea being that if it's in the short to intermediate, Samuel, like I said, Samuel's got the yards after the catch stuff. I think running legitimate routes, McDuffie can keep with him because Samuel's not the best route technician. He's not. He's a good dig runner, but I think that McDuffie can stick with him on just about any route that he runs. So yards after catch stuff will be tough for him. It'll be tough. But I've seen Trent McDuffie get downhill and tackle Jamar Chase before he got going.
Tyreek Hill.
That too. Like, there's a competitive toughness thing about McDuffie. He's small. He's got shorter arms, but he doesn't care.
Agreed. Thank you, Quentin. Thank you, Caroline. And I got your email. I just haven't had a chance to respond to you.
Yes.
I would love to get back to you, and I will after this Super Bowl, I promise. Can you both tell what the best or more accurate draft simulator, I am assuming. On some of these sites, we're getting MIMS at 31. I mean, most accurate's a drag because honestly, most of them use either proprietary boards by guys that, no offense, don't know what they're doing. They might know what college film looks like. Where most drafts go, whether it's the guys that we like and our friends in the business that do a good job and maybe they're just not projecting well, or if it's the stats dudes who don't have any idea how to project, it's that leap. You can watch film and understand what a guy is. It's really hard to project what the team see he will be, and that's why nobody's accurate.
No, I personally like TDNs the best when that's up and running. I don't know if it is right now because they've had some problems with their draft simulators. But at the end of the day, it's just a mixed bag. There's nothing we can really do about it.
I'm talking about Countdown, PFF, and
PFN.
Oh, I haven't even used that one because
you haven't? Okay.
To work last year, so that one too. But if you had to pick one, if you had to do it now, I think we would both probably use TDNs, but I don't think that it's up. Kev, I think Ayuk is a better wide receiver, but Debo is a more dangerous weapon. Also, their secondary seems weak besides Ward. Can MVS have a big day? It's possible, but things have to go right. And that means it's got to be an over route. It's got to be a far corner or a post against, I think, open middle safety looks is my guess. He's got to split dudes.
That's it. You got to find ways to attack middle of the field of other players and get him one-on-one. It's one-on-one matchups where MVS will be effective because he can still get behind them. If he's even Charvarius Ward's a 4'6" guy. He's not a hugely fast player. So if you can get behind him, you can get open.
And I think the glancing looks in him, again, another tracking issue over the head. We've seen what he does when he's straight on skinny posts. He needs to have a little bit of an angle to him. Thanks, Kev. Appreciate you as always, pal. Brett, who popped the OT group in the Senior Bowl? Do you think that Wanye did enough, or do we get a tackle in the first? I still think it's tackle in the first. People keep talking about this being a deep tackle class. I think that's where the most value is. I don't know if somebody's going to be there. So who else popped to you? Because I think all those guys are second or third tier that were at the Senior Bowl.
Yeah. The tackle out of Texas was really good. What was it?
Christian Jones.
Christian Jones was really good. I think he helped himself a lot. And we talked about Tyler Guyton. I think those two players were probably, outside of Fuaga, the best tackles that were consistently there. So I think those two guys really helped themselves out. And yeah,
I like tackle class. Yeah, I like Patrick Paul in the second, to tell you the truth, because I think he's got similar tools to Guyton.
Houston, Paul had a good job, had a good day too. Yeah.
And I'm lower on Fuaga than most. I just don't know how he holds up against NFL competition.
Yeah, I get it. I'm still playing him at tackle first.
Oh yeah, for sure. Thanks, Brett. Appreciate you. Corbin, y'all see Mahomes just picked Jamar Chase with his third overall wish list receiver behind Moss and Tyreek. Petty Pat. No, I didn't. I don't know what that is.
I'm assuming they're doing the Super Bowl coverage interview stuff like right now. So,
crap, I forgot that's going on.
We don't have. I don't have that up, so I'm not seeing it. But yeah, that's not surprising. Pat knows how good Jamar Chase is, and honestly,
he knows stuff.
I'd love to have Randy Moss even at this stage in his career on the Chiefs. So, hey, Randy, go ahead, make the call.
Hey, Randy, come on the show first, will you? I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, how about that?
Lontavius, with Wanye being a molar in the run game.
Mauler.
Okay, gotcha. Does that make Andy want to develop his pass block for next year? I don't know that I would call Wanye Mauler. I think he's better at run blocking than he is pass blocking, but I didn't see enough movement off the ball against the defensive lines to make me call him a Mauler.
I think the biggest thing is the consistency moving forward or backward. His initial get off is the where he needs to develop right now. Like, that's the big thing. You need to consistently get off the ball. If you're moving back, you need to explode into your stance. If you are getting off the ball in the run game, you need to explode out of your stance. That's what his biggest, in my opinion, his biggest need is this offseason.
Yeah, it's his interior, it's his post leg. And unfortunately, I don't feel he has the burst or the strength right now in his right leg to get that kick going. It's mostly because he played right at Oklahoma, and I think the left leg's a little bit stronger to get him out of his stance. But that will come with a season in an NFL strength and conditioning program. Yeah. If we win the Super Bowl, do you expect KC to move up in the draft to take a wide receiver or tackle? And if so, how high would you go, and who would you take? Jonathan, great question. I'm going to leave this to Dan.
Yeah, so I think 20 is about where the Chiefs are looking. 2021, that's probably their sweet spot because they don't really want to go higher because it would be tough. One, it would be tough, and you don't really want to give up that much when you're still kind of rebuilding or retooling, even with 2 Super Bowl wins if they do win this year. So you still have to think about the future. You don't want to just give up players to go get somebody because even at 15, it's not one of the best tackles. It's not one of the best wide receivers. It's just not. So I think 20 makes a lot of sense. And I think right now it would be for Troy Franklin. I think Franklin's going to go around 25 to the 28 spot, but you want to get up in front of these players and get someone like that if that's what you're going for, speed and route running and really zone feel, because he was one of the best wide receivers against zone in college football last year. Just was. So that's something the Chiefs value a lot, and it's something they could use. If it's going to be a tackle, that's where it gets a little tough because we're talking about guys like Troy Fontenot out of Washington who might project better to guard, but I still think he can play left tackle in the NFL. So that's another thing. So if you believe in Andy Heck, which I do, I'm going to go up around 2021, and I'm going to draft Troy Fontenot out of Washington.
Okay. I find that interesting. Yeah. No, and I can't argue with your mentality. The question is, do you feel like you said, do you believe in the scheme and the way that Andy Heck coaches? And I think length is one of the things he relies on. I actually would go the opposite direction because I think he always likes long guys because that's how he coaches. Even Fish, I think, had a little bit shorter arms than what he prefers. So I don't know. we'll get more as we go through the process.
Yeah.
And we'll see who the scouts are really looking at. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Porta Potty. Appreciate it. I'm getting a cup of coffee with
Loving it.
Mo Matsy, right? I know you mentioned a Locked On Chiefs. You want the linebackers to protect the A gaps. Won't that leave heavy holes for play action? Sure. They only run like 12, 14% play action. I ain't too worried about it. And quite frankly, the way that they double mug a lot where they put both the linebackers in the A gaps, what I'm saying is don't drop them both back out. Just drop one of them out and send somebody. But you're still going to be able to cover that middle zone, especially if you're in a dime look with the guys.
Just really quickly, if you blitz both from the middle and drop defense tackles out, you think Brock Purdy can get it over them while he's running backward?
Not so sure.
That's all I'm saying. I don't know about that.
That's fair. Willie's got a knack for it too. Like Willie gets some batted balls. So
and he gets down so quick. We'll talk about it. We're
gonna get there. Friday's the big game plan show, folks. Tomorrow you're gonna see some other content. Should see Seth. You're gonna have something from me as well, or from us. Then film on Wednesday. If you are new to this channel, like, sub, and hit that bell right freaking now, because there's a ton going on. We're going to have some extra clips this week, a lot of content. If you want to help us out, hit the like here. Make sure you check out all the little things because we're going to have a ton. And then Thursday, we're going to get prepped for it. We're going to have all the diehard stat stuff, and we're going to have another clip for you then. And then Friday is the big one. We're going to put it all together for you. Lot coming. William, we're going to speed up here just a little bit and try to hit some speed around here because we got to get to Steven. We got a couple super chats still. Appreciate you, William. Ever since Dan mentioned him, I've been looking at Malachi Corley, and I want KC to draft him. I don't have any problem with that. My problem is I don't see a top 75 player. Do you?
I think he's
maybe
I would say he's
top 100.
75. I would say he's a top 75 player. Okay, that's right on the border for me. Like I think I would have him there.
Yeah. Okay. I see more of a 80s, 90s guy. Right around
I get it.
Chiefs are picking in the third. Just to be honest. Do you guys feel like Purdy, like the Purdy discourse is too extreme either way? I really like Purdy. Nick Wright makes him more good points than people admit. Does he make bad throws, and can he be contained? All things are true. Kid's got a winning knack. You got to give him some credit because he does some stuff that I didn't think he could do until I saw him do.
Well, we can be very honest about Brock Purdy. Like Ryan was talking about earlier, you got two sides. Brock Purdy sucks. Brock Purdy's top 10 quarterback. The answer is he's somewhere in the middle. Yep. Because for everything Brock Purdy does, he elevates the offense. He is what Jimmy Garoppolo was in the fact that he can throw the ball in on time with anticipation of some of the windows for this offense, but also he extends plays. He can do that while throwing the ball accurately down the field outside the numbers. He can still do that. That's something Jimmy Garoppolo could not do. But if he has to get to his second read, it's not good. Doesn't look very good. If he has to move in the pocket, the accuracy drops.
Not break the pocket. Move
not break, exactly. Move with just like that throw from Josh Allen in the divisional game where he moved off his spot a little bit and that ball throws. The difference is that ball gets floated from Brock Purdy. He does not have the arm strength to rip it in there. And also, yes, he can get out and move and use his legs. He is not going to be familiar with what Steve Spagnuolo was throwing at him. He's not. So again, there are some things he does well. And he elevates this offense to an extent. But also, he's kind of a middle quarterback. He just is.
I think it's most dangerous on routes that break early. 3-step drop stuff, I think he's fine on. If he has to go to 5 and get to a second and get to a third, I think the Chiefs have the advantage all day long.
I agree.
Quentin, thoughts on Jordan Morgan at 31? Since the Chiefs will be picking 32, I don't really care, but I will say I like the area for him. I do have him still ahead of Guyton and Paul. Now, I haven't done 3 games on any of those guys yet. I've done Alt, I've done Mims. I'm working off of Sean, and I'll get to it. But I do have Morgan as a fringe right where you're talking about. Where do you see it, Dan? You've done more work.
Yeah, I have him there too. I think he's a first-round player. His injuries brought him down a little bit, but I think he played well at the Senior Bowl. And at the end of the day, He's probably, if he's healthy, going to test well. So yeah, down there, if the Chiefs are not liking the wide receivers that they have on the board, yeah, draft Jordan Morgan. He's a good player. He could be an Eric Fisher type player for this team. I see that within his realm of possibilities.
Agreed. Doxter, how do you guys feel about Cody Schrader from Mizzou? We saw him down in Mobile. What'd you think?
I thought he was fine. Thought he was another guy, one of those day 3 backs that's going to be fine, a fine player. I don't get excited about him. I'm sorry, guys. I don't.
I like what he does. He certainly fit Mizzou's offense. I think he could fit in Kansas City. But when you put him up side by side by some of the other more dynamic backs, he just isn't in that echelon. But neither was Pops, and look where we are now. So
yeah,
could he be a late day 3 guy and pan out? Sure.
Yeah, for sure. I will say that when I was watching him individually, yeah, he had some good plays, but this is not the best running back class, and I don't think he was the 5th best back at the Senior Bowl. And that, yeah, we'll say, I think the guy out of Arizona was really good. We know Lloyd was maybe the best back there. The guy out of Marshall left after day 2 because he had such a great day. The New Hampshire back, there were some good guys there that I don't think he separated himself from them.
I agree. Nice to see you, Holly. Nice to see you, Rachel. Welcome in. Caroline, thank you. Tony, okay, we're going to wrap up here, the last couple here. And from our moderator, Gary, everybody give Gary a hand. Appreciate you, buddy. I heard today that the first 8 picks of the round will be quarterbacks and receivers. What do you think? I mean, it could. Stranger things have happened. That seems like a lot because I think one of the tackles deserves to be in there, I have to say.
I'm not discrediting anything you heard, Gary, but there's a 0% chance that happens. I will say it right now. There's a 0% chance that happens.
And I think there should be an edge in there as well.
I think there's going to be a cornerback in there.
I'm interested to see that. You're not that high on Toledo, are you?
I'm not. I think it's going to be Arnold, but I don't.
Start to panic me there, dude.
Top 12.
Oh, damn. BW, thank you, buddy. Appreciate you. Same thing, Jerry. Appreciate the help. Guys. Nice to have the support. And Steven, one of our members, appreciate you as always.
Hell
buddy.
Yeah.
I'm a new youth lacrosse coach, 7th and 8th grade. Congrats. Well done. It's my first year. What do you tell your players before a game where they are straight up outgunned? Best Chiefs possible. Well, thank you, Steven. Dan, how do you motivate?
Well, you have to understand that at some point you're always going to be outgunned, right? Someone's always going to be better than you in one area, but you have to know that that's not kind of what matters. That's not what matters in one singular football game. All that matters is that the effort that these players exude in this game, you find a way to get them into thinking about the things that they do well. Execute the basics. Don't beat yourself and go out there and just, look, you guys are the underdog. Embrace that mentality. Look at the Chiefs. They embraced the underdog mentality and they were able to beat quote unquote better teams in the Bills and the Ravens. You find a way to ignite that underdog mentality and go tell them, give them your best shot. Maybe they're not as good as everyone thinks they are.
Yeah. I'm a little bit more cliche, but I would put it like this, and I would embrace the underdog as well. Yes, on paper, they're better than you. You play your best game and you find a way to make them not play theirs, you win. Go get it. It's what it comes down to.
Worst comes to worst, start throwing shoulders. Start throwing shoulders around because it's lacrosse, y'all. You get in their head one way or another. You're like, y'all, start throwing some shoulders.
Yeah, a buddy of mine coaches lacrosse as well, and he says the same thing. At the end of the day, get physical. And that'll even a lot of things out.
You can throw them off their game by being more physical than they are.
Yeah. I've never coached that sport in my life. So I can't speak too much, but that's where I would go, Steven. Play your best game and knock the snot out of them. Make them not play theirs.
Love it.
Appreciate you, buddy, as always. Justin, appreciate you as well, buddy. I think I missed a comment, possibly. I don't know. We'll take another look, but we're wrapping up here, folks. Liam, could you sign Jones and tag Snead to delay a year signing? The quarterback number is going to be what? 22-ish, 24-ish?
And his contract shouldn't be that much.
Yeah, like I don't think you're saving any money, not enough money to make a difference. I think you're more likely to get a better discount from L'Jarius, and I don't think you're going to get that from Jones. Jones is going to want probably north of what he wanted before. Inflation's real, folks. Nobody's backing off of that. I don't think he's taken less than the Chiefs offered him before.
Yeah, I agree.
Last one for tonight. Thank you guys for being here. Make sure you like, sub, hit the bell as we wrap up. From Tony G. Hey, Tony, I love what you did. Welcome to the Hall of Fame. Brian and Dan, what do you think of McConkey and drafting McCaffrey's brother? Great bloodlines. I'll let you go first.
Yeah, so I like McConkey. I think McConkey's a fantastic player, underrated speed guy too. Like I would draft him on day 2, no questions asked. I think he can do everything you're looking for. Luke McCaffrey is a little bit of a different story. Played quarterback at Michigan, transferred, then played quarterback somewhere else. I think it was maybe Nebraska. Then he transferred to Rice, learned how to play wide receiver. He made some good plays at the Senior Bowl. He did. He made some good plays, but we're talking. He is tiny. We're a quarterback body playing wide receiver. It doesn't always work out. He's a very specific kind of player. He's not going to be able to win on his own out the gate, and he's going to need to have the ball schemed to him like regularly. So I like what he brings, but he's also kind of a limited athlete because again, he was a quarterback and he doesn't have a lot of upside as a receiver in my mind.
He's UDFA for me. I got to tell you the truth.
Yeah, I agree.
He's the Cooper Manning of the family, as far as I'm concerned. He is not his brother. So yeah, I would you give him a look? Sure. Like you said, there's bloodlines there. There's a knack for the game. There's understanding. And as a quarterback, ask Travis, playing a different position as a former quarterback does help you. So I could see that, but he's got a lot of growing to be a functional wide receiver in the NFL.
You got to put some muscle on, man.
Yeah. And I agree. I do like McConkey on day 2. So we're going to call it a night, folks, a lot. And I'm sure there's plenty of media that you guys want to go see. I probably will as well. We're going to be back tomorrow, the next day, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day until all the days come back and we're in the Super Bowl again. But for this one, make sure you watch tomorrow for all the breakdowns. Wednesday is film day. Dan's going to knock it out of the park for you. We do stats and the big topic on Thursday. And then Friday, we get you ready for the Super Bowl with our live game plan video. You do not want to miss that, Dan. Thank you for your time tonight, as always, and keep me on the straight and narrow.
Always, guys. It's the week. It's finally here. It's only Monday, but this week's going to go fly by with all the content that we're going to consistently put out and that you are going to consume. So we appreciate your support and consistency here on RGR.
Happy Monday night. You guys have a great Tuesday, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.